Hey there, it's Diane Prince from my undecorated office right now, and let's talk about something. Today, we're going to talk about being busy. So, if you're still doing that, like, I'm so busy thing, look, you're being really annoying. Okay, look, I love you, but here's the deal. If you're just running around, and by the way, haven't decorated the office yet. This is my new office, so decorations coming soon. Stay tuned. I'm so excited. We ordered these super cool wall decals. Okay, so if you're still doing that thing where you're like, oh, I'm so busy. Hey, how are you doing? Busy. I mean, first of all, I thought that was like done in like the early aughts, but I don't know. People are still doing it. But like, look, being busy is not. It's not a flex. What it does is it tells people that you don't think they're important when you're just sharing how busy you are. It's not a cool personality trait. It's not a business model. And it is definitely not a growth strategy. It does not impress anyone. And you're just looking like a real frazzled person who's, I don't know, who's not organized or whatever and is not really getting anything done. Okay, busy. Here's like busy. Okay, busy is just chaotic calendar. If that kind of person that's always late, that's got like a gazillion tabs open, that like their inbox is screaming at them, or they're like trying to catch up with all their emails without even like any kind of any kind of strategic direction or like prioritization. It's that like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or they're going to bed at night thinking, oh God, I didn't do that, and that their business isn't really moving. So a lot of people do that. They're like they're busy all day, but they're stuck, and the problem isn't effort. So it's like when I had my clothing business, I had women selling clothing, and it was mostly women. There were two men, said through over out of 350 people selling clothing in home parties. Okay, and some of the women just did this. I'll call them, they were called independent stylists. That was my business model. And some of them were so busy and they were like, I'm working so much, but they weren't doing things that were moving the needle forward. Okay. So this video is not about working less. It's about why busy founders stay trapped and how to fix it without hiring 12 people and pretending you're Google. Okay. So don't start going and hiring a big team without a plan. Okay. Most people aren't overwhelmed because they have too much work. They're overwhelmed because they're doing the wrong work. Okay. Busy is what happens when you're reacting all day. Everything's urgent. I work with a lot of recruiting agency owners, and you get this because you get like, you're putting out all the fires. Nothing is owned when you're busy. You yourself as the founder are the glue. You are the human glue trying to hold the whole thing together. And you know what? What's kind of crazy is that busy can feel productive because you're doing things. You're actually in action. But doing things is not the same as building a business. That's building a job. It's like building a job that you can't quit when you're just doing it like that. Okay. So, like another thing. Okay. Like I also see people like another thing that I see is like kind of running your business like a group project, like those group projects in school. And by the way, I always got that was like I pretty much got all like A's or whatever it was in kindergarten, except for the group project stuff. Okay, but group project is pretty much like when one person does all the work and everyone else is like, let me know if you need anything. Okay, does that sound at all like your business? Everything's running through you. Oh my gosh, my team I used to have it set up where they would ask me questions all the time, and finally I'm like, you guys, don't ask me. Okay, make the decision yourself. Talk to each other. Everything routes through you, your inbox, your approvals, your decisions, your follow-ups. If you're not letting your people use their brains, you're missing out. Okay, when I say people, you probably know this, I'm talking about virtual assistants. Instead of hiring an expensive team or even one person here, because when I say here, I mean US where I am, you can make a lot of mistakes. Okay, so that's why I love working with virtual assistants, which means any kind of offshore person that does any kind of job. Okay, because if you're doing the job of CEO, COO, admin, client success, sales coordinator, Biz dev manager. Hey, just checking in person. Okay. And a lot of people will tell me I'm not ready yet to hire a VA. And I'm like, dude, you are so ready. Okay. Because what I just described, that's you being the company's operating system. That cannot be sustained. When I started my first business that I sold in 6 years for $28 million, started it totally from scratch. I set it up so that other people were doing the work right from the very early stages. Sure, the first 6 months, me and my partner, who was my then husband, we were doing everything, but we brought in people pretty quickly, and we didn't want to make the business just us. We knew we wanted to build something that was a true business, that was an asset. Okay, so if things keep falling through the cracks, okay, if you keep on saying that, that doesn't mean that your team isn't good. Might not even mean that it doesn't mean that you're not good. It's just you might need some little adjustments. Okay, it usually means that nobody really owns everything, or you're owning everything. Okay, if something, here's how things really work. Okay, if something gets owned, it gets done. If something is not owned, it's just sort of an idea or a vibe. Don't have more than one person own one outcome. Your business just can't run. It can only run so long on vibes. Okay, I'll start businesses on vibes, but very quickly, I know that I need to put in systems and I need to put in teams. What happens? You miss follow-ups. Follow-ups are living in your head, or they're sticky notes. Oh my gosh, how long is sticky? Yes. Who has sticky notes that actually stay on the wall? My sticky notes are always falling off the wall. It's like handwritten, I don't know, just text that you sent yourself. I still kind of send myself text that sometimes, but that's usually personal stuff. If you're just like wondering why leads go cold, okay, they probably didn't go cold. They probably didn't ghost you. You probably disappeared for 48 hours. Has that ever happened to you? Busy can feel safe because control feels safe. All right. And I've done a lot of work on this. Look, I work a 12-step program on this, on the control stuff. Busy is what founders do when they don't trust the business to run without them, because control feels responsible. It feels like I'm protecting everything. I'm making sure it's done right because you're the only person who knows how to do this, right? Out of the entire planet. I'll just handle it because it's easier if I do it myself. But what you're actually doing, you're just creating traffic, and you're the traffic. I mean, sure, you might be making some money, you might be getting some things done, but at a certain point, you've got to start bringing in systems. And the best way to do it, in my opinion, from my own experiences, is hiring people offshore, bringing on a virtual assistant who will project manager other virtual assistants. That's what I set out to do, and I've done it. And I also provide that service for other founders. Look, if you insist on improving everything, you don't have a business, you have a waiting room, and everyone is waiting on you. Okay? That's why you're exhausted. It's not because you're growing, it's because you're controlling. Don't be a control freak. Delegation isn't helping. Okay? Delegation is letting people own outcomes. I had one client who had a very young, he still does, has a very young paralegal. He's a lawyer. He owns a law firm. He didn't want to delegate anything to his paralegal. He was worried about it. He's like, well, he's only 27. I'm like, dude, I had a multi-million-dollar business at 27. Okay, it might be unusual, but give people ownership. Okay, delegation is not just, can you help me with this? Can you do this task? Delegation is, this is yours now. This is the vision. We want this outcome. Here's what success looks like. Hand it off. Be there though. Be there in case your team needs your input, because a lot of times they do. But if you're still the one carrying all the responsibility, you're just delegating the labor. That's not true delegation. That's outsourcing your exhaustion. Like, I've done this. I fall into this trap sometimes. I get it. Okay. So real delegation is one owner, one outcome, one system, and clear handoff. You don't need a huge team anymore. Okay. The way that the world works now, well, first of all, we use AI to do a lot of these things, but we still need people to manage that AI. Okay. You don't need a huge team. You do need some AI tools, but you need a few people who actually own things. Okay. You can just start with one. It's so funny when people tell me I can't afford a virtual assistant. It's like, if you know the average life of one of your clients, probably an entire year of a virtual assistant could very likely, just if you get one client, you could probably get an ROI depending on what you do. Okay. So virtual assistants, offshore support lets you fix this a lot earlier. Most founders, business owners, wait too long to get support. They'll wait until they're fried or they're resentful or they're crying in the shower, snapping at their spouse. Oh my gosh. I mean, as a business coach, because I get clients who pay me a lot of money just to talk through things because their spouses just cannot, they're like, go away. I can't listen to this anymore. Okay. I've been there. We've all been there. Okay. If you're a business owner, we've been there. Okay. So offshore support lets you install structure earlier. Okay. Not because it's lazy, but because it's smart. I know I'm not super skilled at operations. I'm more skilled at building things, being kind of crazy. If I just did it myself, I'd be building everything on vibes. Okay. And I will tell you that is why my clothing business failed, because I learned these things the hard way. All right. Using offshore teams gives you back hours that you've been like bleeding out doing admin stuff. All right. If you hire offshore admin support, here's some things they can own. They can own your inbox management. Dude, that is like one of the best things that my team does. I don't look at my inbox, and I have several inboxes. I've got a couple of different emails. I've got Slack. I've got LinkedIn. I've got Instagram, all these messages. My team is, instead of me being willy-nilly, like looking at my phone in my car, my team looks at all of my stuff and tells me. They either reply because they know how to reply to a lot of my messages, or they tell me, hey, that you got to reply to this person. If it's a friend or whatever, they know I want to reply. Okay. Or just different cases. Okay. So follow-up tracking is such a great thing to have virtual assistants do. And ROI for me, like just follow-up tracking with one client, I get an ROI from just an entire year of a virtual assistant, because it is so easy to let leads fall through the cracks. Once I got a client on the 23rd email, if I didn't have people following up and capturing leads consistently daily, I'd be missing out on so many juicy clients. Okay. So now my leads don't slip anymore. Clients get faster responses. Do you know, if the longer it takes you to respond to a client, okay, so somebody might see your content and then they think, oh, I'm curious about working with them. Okay. And then they contact you, but you don't see their email yet. You might see it tomorrow. Well, guess what? In that time, they have decided that they want a solution like yours. They are not going to wait for you to get back to them before Googling, ChatGPTing, whatever, getting referrals. They are going to start looking for other solutions in that gap. Okay. A virtual assistant to interact so there is not a gap is a giant shift. Okay. If you're busy, but you're stuck and you're not growing, you're not broken, you're probably just overloaded and understructured. If you want help fixing that without hiring a massive team or just even one really expensive person who might not work out anyway, or guessing your way through it, talk to my team. Okay. Or talk to, if you don't use us, that's totally cool, but an agency can help you. And a virtual assistant agency can really help, because then you're not going through the whole job posting process. You're not going through the whole interview process. And if somebody doesn't work out, because not everybody's going to be the best fit, if somebody doesn't work out, they will replace them. Okay. That's what we do. So I would also, when you look at an agency, look at terms. Sometimes virtual assistant agencies are going to ask you to lock in for 6 to 12 months. I do not like that at all. I once got into a situation like that with a VA agency, and it's awkward, because if you need to give 6 months notice, what are they gonna do for 6 months? I mean, it's just it makes no sense. Okay, so anyway, talk to my team, just see what you think, see how they are, and what you'll learn too is you'll get ideas of ways that you can work with virtual assistants. It's going to blow your mind. I mean, it blows my mind how much the business has grown. We're 15 months into our staffing agency, and we're at $1 million run rate already. And my coaching business has exploded, everything. Okay. So we'll look at your business. Talk to my team. They're in the Philippines, so then you'll actually see what it's like talking to people in the Philippines who do this kind of work. And they'll show you exactly where everything still routes through you, what needs to be owned, what support would actually create momentum. They're going to share ideas with you. So just remember this. Busy is not a growth strategy. Busy is what happens when you're unorganized and you have no structure. The goal isn't necessarily to do less, although I'm going to tell you it is nice to do less. The goal is to stop being the choke point, stop being that bottleneck. So ask yourself this. What would break if I stepped away for a week? And I've been experimenting with this. If you've been following me, you know I went to the Caribbean, did Turks and Caicos for a week, didn't bring my computer, and told my team, don't ask me anything, ask each other for decisions. And I just went to DC and New York, same thing. Okay, ask yourself this too. What am I still holding on to that doesn't need me? What is the worst that could happen if I let go? And where does everything still route through me? If the answer is everything, then you know exactly what to fix next.